Picture this. You're standing on one of the most isolated pieces of inhabited land on Earth, over 2,000 miles from the nearest continent. The wind whips across volcanic rock. The Pacific Ocean stretches endlessly in every direction. And behind you, nearly 900 towering stone giants, silent, watching, waiting. These are the Moai of Easter Island, and they represent one of archaeology's most captivating mysteries. Some weigh over 80 tons. They were carved with primitive stone tools, and somehow an ancient civilization moved them miles across treacherous terrain. The question isn't just what are these statues, it's how did the Rapa Nui people accomplish what seems impossible? Let's uncover the truth. Easter Island, or Rapa Nui as the indigenous people call it, is about as remote as it gets. Discovered by European explorers in 1722, it immediately sparked wonder and confusion. Dutch Admiral Jacob Roggeveen arrived on Easter Sunday, hence the name, and what he found defied explanation. A treeless island inhabited by a few thousand people, yet dotted with massive stone statues that clearly required enormous resources to create. Here's what we know. Between 1200 and 1500 CE, the Rapa Nui people carved these moai from volcanic tuff at the Rano Raraku quarry. Nearly 900 statues were created. The average moai stands 13 feet tall and weighs around 14 tons. But some are absolute behemoths. The largest erected moai weighs 82 tons. That's like moving 11 elephants, without wheels, without metal tools, without modern machinery. For centuries, experts proposed wild theories: ancient astronauts, lost civilizations with advanced technology, supernatural forces. But the truth? It's even more impressive than fiction, because what the Rapa Nui achieved was pure human ingenuity. So let's tackle the million-dollar question. How did they move these massive statues up to 11 miles from the quarry to their final destinations? For decades, the leading theory involved log rollers. Picture this: laying down a path of tree trunks, placing the moai on a wooden sledge, and using hundreds of people pulling with ropes to drag them across the island. Norwegian explorer Thor Heyerdahl actually tested this in the 1950s. It worked, sort of, but it required massive amounts of wood and incredible manpower. And here's the problem. By the time most moai were being transported, Easter Island was already severely deforested. Then came the breakthrough. In 2012, archaeologists Terry Hunt, Carl Lipo, and their team proposed something radical. What if the moai weren't dragged horizontally? What if they were walked? Here's how it works. The moai's center of gravity is deliberately designed with a forward lean. Teams of people on either side use ropes attached to the statue's head. By pulling alternately, left, then right, then left, they create a rocking motion. The statue waddles forward like a refrigerator being tilted side to side. It sounds insane, but when Hunt and Lipo tested it with a 5-ton replica, it worked beautifully. Just 18 people successfully walked the statue along a dirt path. And here's the kicker. When researchers examined the bases of actual moai, they found wear patterns consistent with upright transport, not horizontal dragging. This method also explains why so many moai fell during transport and were abandoned along ancient roads. If a rope broke or the coordination failed, an upright statue would topple and be nearly impossible to resurrect. But the walking theory needs far fewer people and minimal resources. So we figured out how they moved them. But why? Why dedicate generations of labor to creating these stone giants? The answer lies in the spiritual worldview of the Rapa Nui people. The moai weren't just art. They were living representations of deified ancestors. Each statue was believed to house the mana, the sacred spiritual power of a deceased chief or important ancestor. Erected on ceremonial platforms called ahu, these statues faced inland, watching over villages and agricultural lands. They were guardians, protectors, a physical link between the living and the dead. Different clans competed to build bigger, more impressive moai. It was about prestige, spiritual authority, political power. The more elaborate your ahu, the more powerful your clan. But this obsession came at a cost. As moai construction accelerated between 1200 and 1500 CE, Easter Island's forests disappeared. Trees were cut down for transport, agriculture, and firewood. Pollen analysis from sediment cores tells a devastating story. By 1600, the island's native palm forests were virtually extinct. Without trees, the soil eroded. Crop yields declined. Fishing became harder without wood for seaworthy canoes, and Moai transport became increasingly difficult. By the 1700s, many Moai were deliberately toppled, face down, broken. The theories vary. Inter-clan warfare as resources became scarce, a rejection of the ancestral religion that failed to provide abundance, or possibly a combination of both. When European explorers arrived, they found a population that had collapsed from an estimated peak of 15,000 to just a few thousand people. The great statue-building era was over. The Moai themselves became casualties of the very civilization that created them. Even with everything we've learned, Easter Island still guards its secrets. The Rongorongo script, one of the few writing systems developed in Oceania, remains largely undeciphered. What stories could these glyphs tell us about the Moai and the people who carved them? Modern technology continues to reveal surprises. Ground-penetrating radar has shown that many Moai have extensive bodies buried beneath the surface. What we see as just heads are actually complete statues, some over 30 feet tall. Recent expeditions have even discovered possible underwater structures, suggesting that rising sea levels may have claimed important archaeological sites. Every year brings new discoveries: better carbon dating, more precise climate reconstructions, advanced analysis of Moai quarry techniques. The Rapa Nui people weren't primitive or foolish. They were master engineers, sailors who navigated thousands of miles of open ocean, and artists who literally moved mountains. Yes, they faced ecological collapse, but they also survived, adapted, and passed down a legacy that continues to inspire wonder across the globe. Easter Island reminds us that human beings have always been capable of extraordinary things, not because of lost advanced civilizations or ancient aliens, but because of creativity, determination, and the desire to leave something lasting behind. The Moai still stand watch, still asking us to wonder, still challenging us to understand. And maybe that's the real mystery. Not how they were made, but why, 800 years later, they still have the power to make us stop and stare in awe.